Assalamu alaikum, this is Brother Hameed back again with the Muslim Empowerment Institute. Today I want to discuss something that happened here locally where I live. So Muslim brothers went out and gave Dawah, Dawah meaning inviting to Islam. They had a table and a canopy set up in a high foot traffic area, and they had translations of the Quran and pamphlets and other small books about Islam that they were giving out to anyone who was interested. Now personally, I don't really like to give Dawah like this. I've done this type of thing in the past, and in my opinion, I don't think it's very effective unless you have highly competent people participating that are well versed in comparative religion, and you have people that look like the people that they're inviting to Islam. Other than that, I don't recommend people do this type of thing, and I'll explain why in a moment. But first, just to provide a little bit of context, you used to have converts to Islam who would tell many immigrant Muslims about the importance of calling to the religion. And back in the day, immigrant Muslims were not very concerned with giving dawah, especially the people who we were giving dawah to. We were mostly inner city focused, right? Now, with the rise of Islamophobia, many immigrant Muslims began to get involved in their own form of dawah, where they would invite mostly white suburban Christian congregations to the masjid, and they would have these nice expensive dinners for them and all this type of stuff, right? They even allowed a preacher to bring some of his congregation to the masjid to teach Muslims about Christianity. It was like a class that they would have, and it went on for several weeks. They had plenty of converts to tell them about this, about Christianity if they really wanted to know. So anyways, so they had these interfaith talks and gatherings, and usually during these types of events, the immigrants just have a minstrel show. You know, Islam is peace, and we're against terrorism, and we are, but that's all that they were focusing on. And just to provide some more context, a lot of immigrant Muslims came to America for a better life and to chase the American dream and to chase whiteness, which sometimes means the same thing. They want whiteness, they want assimilation, they want inclusion at any cost, all in a non-Islamic environment in America. And unfortunately, a lot of Muslim immigrants in America believe in white supremacy, and this was their false god even before arriving to America. This is partially because the colonizers conquered them in their countries, stole their intellectual and tangible resources, and allowed them to come here to further build up the American empire. Just look at what communities many Muslim immigrants like to settle in. Mostly immigrant masjids are in the suburbs in America. Now, for someone like myself who believes that white supremacy is modern day shirk meaning to ascribe partners to God, what do I look like giving dawah with folks like this, who believe like this? So if I'm at a dawah table with immigrant Muslim brothers and with the type of folks that I was raised up around, someone may come up to you and say, oh, the immigrant guy must be your boss, and you're just trying to imitate him. I mean, this is what a lot of these folks think. So I think it's a bad look for foreign-born Muslims, despite them being well-intended, to be giving dawah to my people. Let the converts handle that. Now, if I go to India, where it's mostly Hindus, and of course India has millions of Muslims, I can't go there and be the face of the dawah scene in India. I can't be over there trying to call Hindus to Islam. I don't know the language, I don't know the culture, I don't know the people, I don't look like the people. I can help out, but I can't be in charge. No one in India should see me, no matter how much time I've spent there, as the face of Islam in India, like if I move there or something. So likewise in America, if you want to give dawah to people, and if you want to be effective, you need to have converts in charge. That's black folks, white folks, Hispanics, and if you're not from America, you want to participate in the dawah, you should donate to causes that's doing the work where the people in charge are converts. Simple as that. Now, what I think is happening is that a lot of immigrant Muslims want to be the face of Islam in America and don't want people like myself or folks that look like me to be the face of Islam in America. Now, if you study the history of Islam globally, Islam never took off until the indigenous people in those lands assumed religious authority. So there's a reason why Egyptians are not the face of Islam in Pakistan, for example, and vice versa. Now let me explain why I'm not really into dawah anymore, at least the way people are doing it now. For one thing, becoming Muslim is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. And that includes getting burnt out with whatever ideology you had prior to Islam, showing an initial interest in Islam, to researching Islam, saying the Shahada, learning about how to be Muslim, implementation, and cleaning up your life from all the haram. And that all takes time. It's not like Christianity where you got the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons trying to get you to believe in something, and that's it. They just want you to believe that Jesus died for your sins, and just believing in that will get you to heaven, according to them. They really could care less if you do anything after that. Maybe, give them some money or something, right? For me, I'm not trying to convince you to believe in something per se. I'm trying to get you to not believe in something. My dawah is trying to get you to think for yourself and think outside the box, and then go out and do your own research. So the false belief systems that don't make any sense have to be canceled out first before becoming Muslim. Because you can't build a house on top of a house. You got to first tear the house down and then build a new house. Now, I'm sure it happens sometimes, but I just wonder how sincere a person is who took the Shahada after meeting a Muslim at a Dawah table at a hot wing festival. I mean, Allah knows best. I think the messaging that many immigrant Muslims are trying to convey when giving Dawah is kind of watered down. And I think that that's leading to a lot of people who are taking the Shahada, but in reality, really don't want to be Muslim. Believing that Islam is correct, yet you believe the other things that Islam contradicts are also correct, is a problem. And that nullifies Islam. And you have people who said the Shahada and got interested in Islam because of the Palestinian conflict. And that's fine. But you still have to affirm that there's only one God worthy of worship, even though you care about that conflict. You still have to affirm the belief in Prophet Muhammad as the final prophet and messenger, along with the belief in the angels, the different revealed books, the previous prophets and messengers, the day of judgment, and the understanding that every event happens by the will of God, including the good things and the bad things that happen. And last but not least, you have to pray 5 times a day. Now, of course, you're not going to start praying immediately 5 times a day because it takes time to learn. But you have to put in the work. You have to work towards it if you want to be Muslim. You got this thing where all these women are coming into the deen so they can marry this Middle Eastern guy that they've been fooling around with, right? And we all know that most of the time it's all for a green card. And then after they found out it was all a charade, they divorce him and divorce Islam, both of them all together. So that's not why you should become a Muslim, in order to marry someone who in many situations could be just using you, right? I mean, you see all these so-called red-pilled people who come into the deen and they're conspiratorial with everything, and they're bringing in a lot of ideas that they're going to have to work through and abandon if those ideas contradict Islam. And Islam needs to be thoroughly explained to people before they become Muslim. I met someone who took Shahada who didn't even know who Prophet Muhammad was. No one told him. He just said he wanted to be Muslim, and someone gave him Shahada and sent him on his way. So I think a better method of dawah, as opposed to passing out pamphlets to drunkards, would be to invite people who are interested to come to the masjid and learn about Islam. We should have a quarterly open house at every masjid, and we should have a very knowledgeable, well-trained person to give a short speech about Islam and have a Q&A and some food afterwards. That's simple. And the person who's talking needs to be an American convert who knows what he's talking about. And we should have a knowledgeable Muslima to talk to the women, and not just anybody that doesn't know what they're talking about. Right? Some folks can make Islam look really foreign. So this ain't the time to be coming to the masjid dressed like the Taliban, wearing another culture's attire because you think it's more Islamic to be foreign and strange. We should make Islam plain to people and make things easy. And at every neighborhood association meeting where the masjid is located, Muslims should always participate. People should know that the Muslims care about their community. The masjid should be the nicest, cleanest building in the neighborhood. And ultimately, when we're talking about Islam, we have to let people know that Islam solves problems. Islam is the solution to people's suffering, to their theological issues, to their social issues, but only if it's put into practice. So that's it, man. We got a new version of and a new cover of my book, From the Back of the Bus to the Back of the Camel, Analyzing the Psychology of Toby Muhammad. Check the link in the description area. Like, share, and subscribe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.